Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to go ahead and check out one of Homat's video regarding what happened to marriage. Obviously marriage is a big deal, probably not so much in today's society. Haven't really seen any of his content, but no time like the present. I figured we'd give our thoughts, check out some perspectives, and maybe see what we can add to it. Without further ado, let's get into it.
I have a question for the men. Do you guys still want to get married?
I think what you're asking is, do you want to be married? And I think that a lot of men would say, yes, I do want a partner to spend my life with. But when you say, do you want to get married? I'm not sure if you're keeping in mind all these extra steps that come before and the possible ones after. Here's a guy living in a cardboard box with his ex-wife in his house with other men. You have to keep in mind that
is that not what it becomes?
Roughly 1/3 of new marriages.
When it's just all
and that's
rust
only
and just
for
all...
the men who have the opportunity to get married, which is contingent upon a bunch of steps that have changed quite a bit over the years. So in order to get married, you have to date, and in order to date, you have to work and make money, and in order to work and make money, you have to go to school, and men have been facing a lot of new difficulties in all of these areas over the last few decades. So, do I want to have a partner? Yes, but do I want to go through all of this again?
A little debatable in the school. Obviously, I'm an advocate for school and education, but it's not one of the preliminary steps. I think that there's many different ways to financially develop. And I don't think that school is one of the requirements. I think that it can be if you wanted it to be. I think that that plays a huge part. But the steps of being successful or becoming more valuable definitely is a step, whether you go to school or not. And I think that's really what the message is.
Not right now. So you want to get married, you have to date, you want to date, you have to work, you want to work, you have to go to school. This is where a lot of male problems begin. I'm not saying that schoolgirls have it easy, but the last few decades, schoolboys have been treated like they are defective. In 3rd grade, I used to finish my work before the other kids, and I would get up and move around, and they told me that was not okay, so they medicated me. When I got a little older, the other boys would start fights, and I went to the authorities to do the right thing, and they punished both of us. So that
very almost comical, very similar story in my childhood. I was always done first, and I would get bored, and because of my boredom, it would look like active disruption. So then they thought a lot was wrong with me.
Then I took matters into my own hands, and they punished just me because of these policies. They don't let boys just fight it out anymore. Those types of policies are not setting young boys up for success. They punish the way that we natively look at the world. It definitely messed me up a little, and that was 30 years ago, and I have no idea what's going on now. When we get older and go to college, there are all kinds of things in place to help girls that are not available for boys, and they say...
I would argue that it's probably worse. Considering some of the content I've covered in previous videos, as well as my own perspective, I don't think it got better.
That it's there to correct problems, but I don't think those problems exist anymore. So as we are accumulating what we need to succeed in life, boys are getting less of a head start than they used to, which is, I think, one of the contributing reasons for why they say they have Peter Pan syndrome, and they never grow up. I think it starts here. When we get into the workplace, there are similar programs that benefit women and not men. And that's an issue because women want to make equal money to men, but then they also want men to make more and support them, and you can't have both. Additionally, the culture has become very inhospitable towards men.
In reference to the Peter Pan syndrome, it's because we fail a certain objective in our development. Now, a lot of men, what ends up happening is, instead of identifying where they belong in society, they become impressionable by society. And so they get stuck with what everyone else is doing, and then they don't really find their own path. It's part of a developmental theory that's been going around for a while now. And I think that still holds true with the obstacles that people need to face and stages through their life.
And again, the way that men communicate and behave. And I don't know if you've noticed, but the economy is getting pretty bad. And even though that affects everybody, men are the ones who are expected to pay. So this puts us at an increasing disadvantage comparative to women as we age. Then when we get out into the dating world, if you don't have any money, that's going to be a problem. If you can't compete on the dating apps, which most men cannot, that's going to be a problem. If you're not okay with her having an OnlyFans or an Instagram or whatever, it's going to take some women off the table because they have so much attention. So a lot of men are playing catch up at this point in life when that didn't used to be the case. So our parents and grandparents did not have any of these problems. They just sort of grew up, got jobs, and married whoever was nearby. Have you ever thought of it like, would your mother have married your father if she had Tinder? Would she have chosen him? There's stuff going on in these phases of life for us that would have been unheard of even one generation ago. I once had a job where I...
If ancestors were in the time of today, how would that have gone? I don't think it would have gone well. I think that we've made it this far because we didn't compromise our character as much. And I think that even great people in terrible societies, that character will be compromised. And I don't think they would have become the person that they did.
I worked with a girl. We had the same job. I had more experience. We had layoffs, and later she matched with me on Bumble and came to hook up. And I said, would you like to continue doing this? And she told me that I didn't have my life together enough. We were living in the same place, in the same job market, and we came from the same job, and I had more experience. And she was getting $120K a year to do some like women's leadership job or something, and I was driving for Uber. So, I think a lot of people are really underestimating how much easier this makes things. So then if you can actually get to this point, you as a man, you have to take everything that you've managed to put together over the course of your life and put it all on the table for someone who is probably not doing the same. Even though women are not having a hard time in the workplace, men are still generally expected to provide, while women generally keep more of their money for themselves.
There's quite a few points that I want to put forward, but we're going to let it ride.
We've all heard, my money is my money, his money is my money. I found this great little video about that.
But I just have a quick question. My husband won't see all of my accounts, right? I have like 8 different bank accounts, but my husband only knows about 2 of them. I've just been secretly saving for years in case I ever need to. Oh, no, say no more. I don't need to see those statements, so as far as I'm concerned, they don't exist.
Yeah, so I don't love the idea that my wife might be hiding money. Of course, I'm not allowed to do that. All of my money has to be on the table, and there's about 1/3.
I have a feeling that's very common in higher class relationships.
Chance that you're going to be taking it to party with other dudes in the house that I bought for you. Divorce laws have changed too. You used to need a really good reason to get divorced, but now it can happen just because someone is not happy. They even write songs about it. Check this out. I have to mute it for copyright. I'll read it to you. Might be the only guy who didn't send me hearted eyes in reply to my latest story. We work well on paper. We don't argue. We don't fight. But lighting scented candles just won't relight up our fire. And right there she goes, ah. It ain't that bad. It's just not what I wanted. Don't want to live this life half-hearted. Hang on, here it comes. I want fireworks and flames. Don't want safe, tame, practical. That ain't enough. That ain't love. This is the squircle of unconsciousness. It represents how people don't know how relationships work, and so they think the relationship is going to go like this, and then it turns a corner. I think she's at the dissatisfied part. You can't have everything is exciting all the time. Good choices are boring. No.
Relationships aren't linear. It's not just going to automatically run this course unless the 2 people involved are automatically processing it, right? In other words, if they are living in this relationship on autopilot, then yeah, your relationship's going to be linear. But I don't think the beauty in relationships is to be autopilot. I think it's actively cultivating. I think it's fostering things. I think it's being attentive. I think it's being focused and exclusive with somebody. I think the reason why we're autopilot is because I think a lot of people in today's society, they're autopiloting several relationships. I think this is more common for women especially, is that they're autopiloting different relationships. And that's why none of them are being cultivated. None of them being fostered. And they just have this constant, well, I'm going to leave soon anyways, or this is going to fail soon anyways. So I'm just gonna give. I mean, and in a sense, that's the Peter Pan syndrome for women. It's I'm not going to actuate my potential. This is going to fail at some point. So I'm going to enjoy it while it lasts, because that's the thing that I can control. And that's less scary for me, like giving faith, having confidence, obtaining courage to foster a relationship that may not work out, but having the strength and power to pursue it anyways. I think that's the mature option, right? If you are actually looking for love, then a woman is going to try to achieve that. And obviously there's some aspects of the men that have to be involved as well.
No relationships are going to be fun the whole time. They're all going to have spots where there's no fire. But she don't want safe, tame, practical. That ain't enough. That's not even love. Look how passionate she is about dumping her husband. That's real, I can spot a faker. And she even sings about other men giving her googly eyes on her Instagram stories. So this girl is what I would call an excitement chaser. She starts out her new relationships excited, and over time gets bored when they're not chaotic, and
Because it becomes more about the impulse chasing and less about the stuff that is built. One of the terms I've used for a little bit, and it's probably used in one of my other videos, is the idea of the structure of a home. If a man builds a home and a woman doesn't apply anything of herself to that home, she doesn't help build the home, she doesn't develop the home, she's just going to come in, and then she's going to have no value of this place that you have built, which means what? She is far more likely to just walk out because there's no attachment there. And I think the one way that men can identify which women are going to say is if they're actively helping to build your metaphorical home or fulfill it, right? We may provide structure as men, but if she's not doing anything with the structure provided, and it's just her just waiting on things that you say and not really pursuing any things or getting creative or braving the unknown, you got one of those women that is just only there for now. And she knows it. She's willing to lie to you about it, but it's definitely something to be cautious of.
and by the time we notice she's bored, she's already got a new guy lined up, and this has pretty nasty effects on us. So your relationship's satisfaction is going to change over time, but your stability is not supposed to. That's what marriage is. That's what it's for. Even when you start feeling like things are not as fun, you have to remember that commitments are what gets you through the swings. I actually have a little theory.
The swings are the chaos of life, misery. And I think that what he's trying to put forth is the foundation of marriage, if trusted in, if built, if fostered, becomes a powerful thing to stand on and stand on together to make it through the points in life that do embitter people. And the reason why that's not achieved as much anymore is because there's no faith that that'll happen. There's no courage that that will work. They've never had a sense of power to stand on before, so they don't know how possible it is. And it's the same idea of religion. A lot of people will only become religious if they can see God. If God will appear before them and say, I am real, I am him. It's like, okay, now I'm religious. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yep, you got me. It's like, no, that's the absence of faith. You live in cowardice. So in this same aspect, you can't expect the marriage to appear as perfection in front of you before you trust it. You need to foster it into something you can trust. That's one of the big parts that women, men don't seem to understand. It's not going to happen on its own. And time dictates nothing. Time spent with somebody means nothing. You could have 10 years spent with a woman that you've never cultivated anything with, or she's never cultivated anything with, and be easily replaced by someone you've been talking to for 2 weeks because there's more being established there. Not in the sense of, oh, this is new and this is fun. No, I think that's very obvious what that looks like. It's just impulse emotion chasing at that point. You're not really looking for anything worth keeping. You're just looking for the short-term success, the immediate gratification of social interaction, which is never good. That may solve the short-term problem, that you're just going to have this gaping hole later when your attractiveness doesn't work when you're older, and then you're going to become embittered as women.
That this takes about a year. Obviously, we get up and go to sleep with the sun, and women have changes in their hormones and emotions with the moon. And I think that a year is the amount of time that it takes to find somebody and have that strong emotional connection, get pregnant, and have a child. It's about 1 year altogether. And this girl is making a spiritual experience out of a biological process, and she's allowed to end the marriage over it. So it's not that I don't want a partner, it's just that a lot of us don't have what we need to build a partnership, and even if we get it, it could fall apart immediately. She could squircle herself into believing it's not love and have a phone in her pocket with 1,400 horny guys on it, and then I end up here. So what you've done by fighting for equality is you've basically said, hey, you want to play a game of chess? I get all queens though. Hey, where are you going?
Do you guys still want to get married? Like, is that still a thing?
I hope this all made it clear why it's less of a thing.
So that was the video by Homath. Now, one of the key points that I've realized outside of the idea of being successful and him putting forth his definition of what makes a man valuable before they can really pursue genuine relationships, I'm one of the types that believes in that as well. I think that you need to have a foundation for you to stand on financially before you actively pursue genuine and authentic relationships, in the sense that you are trying to be exclusive to somebody, dating for a life partner. Now, it is a huge Russian roulette when you go out into the world. One of the things that was missed was the importance of character development in the process of finding your success. It's one thing to go out into the world and set yourself up financially, but one of the things that can exist in the financial setting is a sense of narcissism, Machiavellism. And what that can implement is you can be a very terrible human being at being successful. You can be a very terrible human being at allowing certain variations of success to mean more to you than different variations of success. And I think that when men allow the shallow forms of success to define them is when we often become terrible as people, because we think that's enough. It's not enough. We need to become something a little more with our character that says, I am this presence with or without this financial component. And I think that's so much harder to achieve. The reason why marriages fail on the basis of, oh, but I was financially prepared for this, why didn't it work? Is because that was your only concern, was that you're financially prepared for this. And that's why it didn't work. You needed to become something that is so impressionably potent that it would make an impact on the woman of your choosing. Now, it is skewed with the concerns of women. I think that a lot of women don't understand what men have to achieve before making that decision, because it's not their concern. So the last thing that I want men to do is to go out into the world and say, well, I'm going to explain it to you why it has. No, they're not going to care. They're not going to get it. The reason why they're not going to get it is because that's not something that they have to do. And as long as it's something that they don't have to do, there's going to be a disconnect. There's going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But there's not going to be a valuable transaction in that dialogue. And that's one of the things that we're going to have to let go of. And we're just going to have to work on us. I don't think it's wise to pursue an understanding there. I think it's better to just do it. Be that, work on ourselves in a moral development sense, because when we do get married, another thing to keep in mind is what's next? Children. If you are only financially successful and not characterologically successful, how can you have kids? Sure, the deed can happen, the action can happen. That doesn't mean you're ready to be a father. And a lot of people will say, well, no one's ever ready. It's like, that's not correct. That's not necessarily correct. I wouldn't argue that statement. I would say that there is a form of preparedness that can happen in achieving a form of character of ourselves. If our only ambition was to be financially set, that's the only thing we're going to be good at. You mean to tell me that you're going to be able to structure a young human's life based off that component? I'm not trying to knock on people that are successful. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to say there's more to it. And it's not the woman's job. The woman's job is to nurture and foster. It's not to structure. And so if we have failed at structuring our moral compasses and our ability to be just and righteous, then how can we be admirable with our own children? And how can we teach them those things? How can we teach them the ability to navigate life, or at least give them the starting point to do so? So that's kind of my additional pitch on whole math's ability to capture a certain phenomenon. I do think it's a big deal. I think there's more to it, as I previously stated. So thank you for everyone watching the video. Please comment, like, and subscribe. And if you dislike the video, then dislike it and you'll never see me again. But also comment in the comment section down below for any of your thoughts, any of your perspectives. I know that a lot of people are having trouble out there in relationships and relationship culture. I actually put out a video called Relationship Reality that covers a lot of the issues as well. I didn't pitch it from a financial point. I pitched it from a character point, and that's why its delivery is a little bit different. But if you wanted to get a full realm of perspectives, go ahead, check out whole math's video, and then maybe check out mine after. Thanks again, and I'll go ahead, see you next time.